Every time you say, "I'll do it later," you think you're buying yourself time. You're not. You're teaching your mind that your words mean nothing. You tell yourself you'll start tomorrow, later tonight, after one more scroll, after one more video. But your mind is watching, and every delay sends the same message. What I say does not matter. Do that often enough, and your own mind stops taking you seriously. And once that happens, discipline is no longer difficult. It becomes unnatural. You already know what this feels like. You make a promise to yourself. You say, you'll start the workout, you'll open the book, you'll finish the project, you'll finally do the thing you've been avoiding. And then, you delay it. Not because you can't do it, but because facing it feels uncomfortable. So you push it forward and tell yourself, it's not a big deal. But it is. Because procrastination is not just a habit, it is repeated self-betrayal. And the more you betray your own word, the less your mind believes anything you say. In this video, you'll understand why every time you say, "I'll do it later," you are training your mind to lose. And once you see what that phrase is really doing to you, you'll never say it so casually again. Every time you say, "I'll do it later," you think you're making a harmless decision. You are not. You are breaking your word. And the most dangerous part is that you've done it so many times, it no longer feels serious. You promise yourself you'll wake up early. You hit snooze. You promise yourself you'll start working. You open your phone. You promise yourself this time will be different. And then, you repeat the same pattern. At first, it feels small. A few minutes. A minor delay. A harmless excuse. But your mind does not measure the size of the delay. It measures the meaning behind it. And the meaning is always the same. When discomfort appears, my word becomes negotiable. That is the betrayal. Not of your goals, of yourself. Because every promise you break teaches your mind something. It teaches your mind that your intentions cannot be trusted. Your decisions are temporary. And your future self will always accept another excuse. You may not notice it immediately, but your mind does. And over time, something begins to change. You stop feeling confident when you make commitments. Your own promises start sounding empty. You say, "I'll do it." But a deeper part of you already doubts it, because you have heard those words before, and you know how they usually end. This is why procrastination is so destructive. It doesn't just delay progress, it weakens the relationship you have with yourself. And once your mind stops trusting your word, every goal feels heavier than it should. Because now you are not just trying to build discipline, you are trying to convince your own mind to believe you again. And that is the silent betrayal hiding behind 5 simple words. I'll do it later. If procrastination felt painful immediately, you would stop. But it doesn't. It feels good. The moment you say, "I'll do it later," you feel something almost instant. Relief. The pressure fades. The discomfort softens. For a few moments, you feel lighter. And that is exactly why you keep doing it. Because your brain is not asking, "What will help me long term?" It is asking, "What helps me feel better right now?" And every time you postpone a difficult task, you give your brain the answer. You teach it that the fastest way to feel better is to avoid what matters. That is the trap. You think you are protecting yourself from discomfort, but you are training yourself to escape it. And the more often you escape, the weaker your tolerance becomes. This is why simple tasks start feeling overwhelming, not because they became harder, but because you have conditioned your mind to treat discomfort like a threat. So now, even a small challenge triggers resistance. You feel tension. You hesitate. You delay. And then you reach for the same phrase that has been quietly controlling you. "I'll do it later." What you call procrastination is often just emotional self-soothing. A temporary escape that gives you immediate comfort, while quietly increasing the difficulty of everything you keep avoiding. And the cruel part is this. The relief feels like a solution, but it is the very thing making your problem worse. Because every time you choose relief over action, you strengthen the habit of running from what would actually move your life forward. And over time, your mind learns a dangerous lesson. Feeling better now matters more than becoming better later. That is the relief trap. And if you don't see it clearly, you will keep mistaking avoidance for peace. There is something far more damaging than unfinished work. It is the moment your own mind stops believing you. And if you are honest, you have felt this. You tell yourself, "This time, I'm serious." But something inside you barely reacts. No sense of certainty. No sense of conviction. Just a familiar sentence you have heard too many times before. Because your mind remembers. It remembers every promise you made when you felt inspired. Every plan you wrote down. Every deadline you pushed forward. Every tomorrow that turned into another excuse. And after enough repetition, your mind draws a conclusion. His words do not lead to action. That conclusion changes everything. Now, when you set a goal, part of you immediately doubts it. When you make a commitment, part of you expects you to quit. When you say, "I'll start today," part of you is already waiting for the delay. This is the erosion of self-trust. And without self-trust, discipline becomes fragile. Because discipline is not built on motivation. It is built on an internal belief that, when I say I will do something, I follow through. That belief is one of the most powerful forms of psychological strength. It creates certainty. It removes negotiation. It turns action into identity. But every time you postpone what you know you should do, you chip away at that foundation. Slowly, quietly, repeatedly, until your own commitments start feeling hollow. And this is where procrastination becomes deeply personal. You are not just delaying tasks. You are teaching yourself that your intentions are unreliable, that your decisions are temporary, that your future self cannot depend on you. Think about what that does to a person. How can you pursue a difficult goal when your own mind questions your word? How can you build confidence when your behavior keeps contradicting your promises? How can you trust yourself under pressure, when you have trained yourself to retreat the moment discomfort appears? This is why some people look capable on the outside, but feel weak internally. They have ideas, plans, potential, but they no longer trust themselves enough to act consistently. And once self-trust is damaged, every decision becomes heavier. Because now you are carrying the weight of your own history. A history of delays, excuses, broken promises, and silent disappointments. But here is the truth most people need to hear. Your confidence is not destroyed by failure. It is destroyed when you repeatedly prove to yourself that your word means nothing. That is what procrastination takes from you. Not just time, not just progress, but the ability to believe yourself. And when you lose that, you begin losing far more than you realize. At first, procrastination feels like something you do, a behavior, a bad habit, a temporary weakness you plan to fix one day. But if you repeat it long enough, it stops feeling like behavior and starts feeling like identity. You stop saying, "I've been procrastinating," and you start thinking, "This is just who I am." That shift is dangerous, because once a pattern becomes part of your identity, you stop resisting it. You stop questioning it. You stop believing you can change it. And without realizing it, you begin building a story about yourself. A story that sounds like this. "I always wait until the last minute. I'm just not disciplined. I struggle to follow through. I never do what I say I'll do." At first, those statements seem harmless, but your mind treats them like instructions. The more often you repeat them, the more your behavior adjusts to match them, because your mind is always trying to stay consistent with the identity you accept. So if you believe you are someone who delays, you will continue delaying. If you believe you are someone who quits, you will continue quitting. If you believe your word carries no weight, you will keep treating your promises as optional. This is how self-sabotage becomes self-concept. And once that happens, change becomes much harder. Not because you lack ability, but because you are trying to act against a version of yourself you have spent years reinforcing. You tell yourself you want to become disciplined, but deep down, you still identify as someone who avoids discomfort, and identity almost always wins over intention. That is why temporary motivation rarely lasts. You can feel inspired for a day. You can make a new plan. You can promise yourself that this time will be different. But if your internal identity still says, "I am someone who delays," your behavior will eventually return to that pattern. This is why so many people feel trapped. They are not fighting a task. They are fighting a self-image. And every time they say, "I'll do it later," they reinforce it again. They add another piece of evidence. Another silent vote for the person they do not want to become. But here is the truth that can change everything. Identity is not discovered. It is built through repeated evidence. Every action is a vote. Every delay is a vote. Every excuse is a vote. Every follow-through is a vote. So the real question is not, what kind of person do you want to be? The real question is, what kind of person are your daily decisions proving you to be? Because whether you realize it or not, you are answering that question every single day. This is where procrastination becomes truly dangerous. Not because of what you lose today, but because of what you keep postponing for years. When you say, "I'll do it later," the cost seems insignificant. It's just one missed workout, one postponed conversation, one unfinished chapter, one delayed opportunity. Nothing catastrophic, nothing dramatic. And that is exactly why you underestimate it, because the damage is rarely immediate. It accumulates quietly, like water wearing down stone, like interest compounding in reverse. One delay becomes a pattern, the pattern becomes a habit, the habit becomes identity, and identity shapes the direction of your life. That is the compounding cost. You do not pay for procrastination once. You pay for it every day the decision remains unmade. Every day you delay learning the skill you know you need. Every day you avoid the project that could change your future. Every day you postpone the conversation you know you need to have. Every day you keep telling yourself, "I'll do it later." And while you delay, life keeps moving. Time keeps passing. Opportunities keep closing. Other people keep acting. And the gap between where you are and where you could be grows wider. This is the part that hurts. Because if you are honest, you can probably see it. You can picture the version of yourself you might have become if you had acted when you first knew what needed to be done. The stronger body, the sharper mind, the finished work, the improved finances, the deeper confidence, the quieter self-respect that comes from knowing you follow through. And then there's the reality you are living now. Not because you lacked potential, but because you kept delaying the actions that would have turned that potential into reality. That is the real cost of procrastination. It steals a version of you that never gets the chance to exist. And the most painful part is that the theft is self-inflicted. No one forced you to wait. No one made you postpone. You did it to yourself, one excuse at a time, one delay at a time, one later at a time, until months become years, and years become a life that feels smaller than it should. This is why procrastination is not harmless. It is one of the most expensive habits you can carry, because it does not just waste time. It slowly separates you from the person you were capable of becoming. And the longer you keep saying, "later," the more that future version of you slips out of reach. The damage begins when your words stop leading to action. So the repair begins when they start leading to action again. It sounds simple, but psychologically, this is one of the most powerful changes you can make. Because the goal is not to become perfect overnight. The goal is to teach your mind one new lesson. When I say I will do something, I move. That is how you rebuild trust. Not with motivation, not with another plan, not with promises that sound good in the moment, but with immediate action. The moment you catch yourself saying, "I'll do it later," pause and ask yourself one question. What am I trying to avoid right now? That question changes everything, because it forces you to see the truth. You are not delaying because you lack time. You are delaying because you are resisting discomfort. And once you see that clearly, you have a choice. You can obey the discomfort, or you can act anyway. That act does not need to be dramatic. You do not need to finish the entire project. You do not need to solve everything in one sitting. You only need to take the first honest step. Open the document. Make the call. Write the first sentence. Put on your shoes. Sit down and begin. That small action sends a completely different message to your mind. My word still matters. And every time you repeat that pattern, you strengthen the relationship with yourself. You prove that discomfort does not control you. You prove that your promises are not empty. You prove that action is part of who you are becoming. This is how identity changes. One kept promise at a time. One uncomfortable action at a time. One moment where you stop negotiating and simply move. Will it feel easy? No. In the beginning, it will feel unnatural, because you are going against a pattern you have repeated for years. But with every act of follow-through, you cast a new vote. A vote for the person who acts. A vote for the person who keeps his word. A vote for the person his own mind can trust. And over time, something remarkable happens. You stop needing constant motivation. You stop relying on emotional highs. You stop making dramatic promises to yourself, because your confidence no longer comes from what you intend to do. It comes from the evidence of what you actually do. And that is the reversal. The moment you stop saying, later, and start becoming someone who moves when it matters most. You thought procrastination was a productivity problem. It isn't. It is a trust problem. Every time you say, I'll do it later, you are making a decision that goes far deeper than the task in front of you. You are deciding whether your word means something, whether your future can rely on you, whether the person you claim you want to become is actually being built or quietly abandoned. Because your life is not shaped by what you intend to do. It is shaped by what you do the moment discomfort appears. That is where your character is revealed. That is where your identity is formed. And that is where most people lose. Not because they are incapable, not because they lack potential, but because they keep teaching their minds that their promises are negotiable. You know what this feels like. You know the frustration of making the same commitments and watching them collapse under the same excuses. You know the quiet disappointment of realizing that your own mind no longer believes you. And if you keep repeating that pattern, the cost will be greater than missed tasks. You will lose confidence in your own word. You will start doubting every goal you set. And eventually, you will settle for less than you know you are capable of becoming. But the moment you stop saying, later, and start acting when you say you will, everything begins to change. You rebuild self-trust. You strengthen your identity. You prove to yourself that discomfort does not control you. And once your mind believes your word again, discipline stops feeling like a struggle. It becomes a natural extension of who you are. So the next time you hear yourself say, I'll do it later, understand what is really at stake. You are not postponing a task. You are deciding whether your word has value. And in the end, your life will be shaped by how often you honor it. Every promise you keep builds strength. Every promise you break builds doubt. And the person you become is the sum of which one you repeat most. If this video forced you to confront something you've been avoiding, subscribe. Because this channel is not about motivation. It's about exposing the patterns that keep you stuck and helping you take control back. And if this message hit home, comment, "My word matters." Because the moment you start treating your own word as something sacred, you stop training your mind to lose.